we've talked a lot about institutions in this class so far, and if you remember, institutions are humanly devised constraints that shape human behavior. And then we've said that institutions are rules, and rules are institutions. Institutions are norms, and norms are institutions. So where do institutions fit into all this stuff we were talking about? And this is sort of the simplest way to think about this. Institutions, or again, we might say rules, or we might say norms, institutions lock in these collective action problem solutions. So for example, we sit around the table, us roommates, and we come up with this understanding about how we're going to do chores. And then we essentially draw up the chore chart. And then we put it up on the fridge. Now the chore chart has essentially become a rule, an institution. It is the thing that we've sort of agreed upon up there. And over time, it shapes something. So let's just talk about what this does. This establishes, when we have institutions that lock in these sort of solutions, they establish standardized procedures for dealing with recurring problems. Every week, I'm going to say, ooh, man, what am I supposed to clean this week? There is the chore chart up on the fridge. It's a standardized procedure for dealing with recurring problems. Ideally, your chore chart has things like, what does it mean to clean the bathroom? All that kind of stuff. What this does is this reduces transaction costs of bargaining. In other words, every week we don't have to sit together and say, okay, how are we going to clean the house this week? How are we going to clean the house this week? Every week there's a process by which we know what I'm responsible for, what you're responsible for. So that's transaction costs. It's just sort of the bargaining is costly in itself. Coming up with these solutions is costly. Getting that community agreement on it is costly. If we can cut that down by sort of, I guess, standardizing the procedure, then that's a more efficient process, and it's less costly to come to community consent over time. The sad thing is this also locks in power asymmetries. Now, here's the positive. The positive of that, you don't have to renegotiate power between parties. It's already sort of locked in. The bad part of this is, of course, those who have power are going to get the better deal, and that's locked into this. And so sometimes we need to renegotiate these things for fairness or because power sort of dynamics have changed. But that's sort of the idea. Again, that doesn't feel so important in a roommate situation, though it might be. But at the global level, you can imagine as China, for example, gets stronger and stronger and stronger, we might have to renegotiate how China fits into some of the agreements. The institutions constrain the behavior of actors. Just like we said, institutions are humanly devised constraints that constrain actor behavior, or that shape behavior of humans. Ugh, I don't know how to say that right. But they constrain the behavior of actors. So once the chore chart's up there and I want to be a part of this roommate situation, I know that I'm on for bathroom. And so I'm going to go clean the bathroom. That's constrained my behavior in a way that without the chore chart, I doubt I'm going in the bathroom and cleaning it right now. It divides and specializes labor. And here's what I mean by that that's important for us. What it does is it creates incentives to learn my area. Now, it doesn't work so well for the chore chart because we kind of have a rotating system, right? But imagine a chore chart where I'm always in charge of the bathroom. Well, I'll get better and better and better at doing the bathroom, which means it'll be less costly for me to contribute. That's what we mean by that. There's this incentive to learn my area. And that's what we call expertise. Expertise is going to make institutions even more effective over time. Last thing is that institutions do change, but they tend to change very slowly. We talked about this, institutional stickiness. Once the chore chart's up there, we don't have to keep having conversations about it. We got the chore chart up there. That may be good if it's providing the public good. It may be bad if I feel like it's not a very effective way of doing it, but that's part of this process. One more slide, just a couple lines here, and that is that over time, institutions can often change the behavior, the interests, or we might say even the preferences, if we want to go back to our talk about constructivism, and or the moral standards of the actors. So the first week that we're doing the chore chart, we're all a little iffy on it, right? Like, I'll do my part of the chore chart, Well, I'm not really certain. You're going to do your part. I'm not certain you're going to do your part. But imagine over, let's say we've done it now for 6 weeks and it's worked pretty well. On the 7th week, I'm not really thinking that much about the chore chart anymore. The chore chart is part of our life. It's not this sort of weird random thing that's placed on from the outside. I do my part not so much because of this chore chart agreement, because I think it's the right thing to do. It's part of being a part of this community, is to do my part of the chore chart. And that's essentially what we're talking about. It changes my behaviors, obviously, because it changes the incentives, but it may also over time change my preferences. So we can talk about this in a couple ways. Regulative, meaning regulation. It changes the incentives, the benefits, the cost of the actors. If I do my part, then I'll get, well, let me say it this way. If I don't clean the bathroom, there'll be punishments in terms of I might have to put $20 in the jar. My roommates will think that I'm not pulling my weight. If my roommates are my friends, they might, start to really be less friendly with me. Like, there's a lot of costs that can be on this. And so just cleaning the bathroom saves me the trouble of that. And so even though I don't want to clean the bathroom, I'll clean it. The other thing is it can also be what we call normative, meaning it can, over time, again, that constructivism model, over time it can change the duty, or it can change the belief of what I believe I'm supposed to do. Like the first week, I'm just cleaning the bathroom because I want to make sure I don't get all those punishments. By the sort of the 2nd or 3rd month, maybe I'm cleaning the bathroom because that's just what you do. I'm supposed to clean the bathroom. That's what it says on the chore chart. And that's kind of how institutions work. They do sort of change in their effect over time. All right. That is it. I do have an assignment for you guys. It should be up hopefully by the time this video is up. And what I'm really only asking you to do is a couple things. I'm going to give you a couple global governance problems, and I want you to think about your own project. And I just want you to break down the terminology that we've used in this for Wednesday's class and then some of the stuff we talked about today. I really want you to identify the public good. I want you to explain to me the free rider problem so I know you know what it is. And then maybe think about a solution or two. Just guessing based on what we've talked about so far. If you need help on the solution, just go back to the notes and look at solutions 1, 2, 3, and 4. I would say especially look at solution 3 and just see, is there something that comes to mind without breaking it down or anything, just a real quick sentence, this might be a way to solve that collective action problem. And then that's it, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks, bye.